Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you can learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun specializing in the fun part. I'm Paul Sanneman, the founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. Today I have Greg Cayea with me of FunnelPros, okay? Now, you're going to have to explain to them, Greg, what is a funnel? I know like you put stuff in a liquid, but in your opinion, what does a marketing funnel look like and what does it do?
I still haven't figured it out. I'm not quite sure. That's why I have to keep sketching them out, putting them on the web,
Okay, all
because I have
right.
no idea how to verbalize it. And I think the way that I would describe a funnel, or the way the first, I would describe why someone should want a funnel. And I think the reason someone should want a funnel is because I think it's like basically taking your best salesperson and automating it, like basically just putting them on autopilot so
Okay.
that every single person that comes through, any one of the windows that leads into the house is greeted with the same front door.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the windows because there's a lot of controversy on, do I direct email? Do I use pay-per-click? Do I just make my website and build brand? Do I call my next door neighbor? Do I hand out leaflets? I mean, there's a lot of ways to get leads, right? So maybe you can go over, you work with a lot of service guys. What are the different kinds of ways that you generate leads to go into the funnel?
So, real quick, like I would say that I like to simplify this.
Okay.
There's two things that people need. They need a funnel and then they need to advertise the funnel. That's it. Now, how they advertise the funnel is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if someone is advertising. So when I say funnel, let me break it down a little bit more. So a funnel is basically digitizing the customer journey, right? So from stranger to sale, right? Because like when people focus on lead generation, this is why we built the whole company to begin with, right? It was like everybody was spending all this money on leads without any sort of back end system to kind of like take care of the actual nurturing. But the thing about it is that, I mean, you're only closing like 10%. I mean, I would say like even 2 years ago, maybe the booking rate of raw leads was probably about 10%. I would say nowadays it's maybe about 6 to 8%. So how do you solve that problem? Well, the way you solve that problem is with two things, with volume, so more raw leads, and the other way to solve it is by talking to those raw leads more often. So increasing basically the customer communication cycle
Mhm.
and just getting more of them. Because like there's been plenty of times when like, I mean, we have a client in Jersey, and like I remember like we were on the phone and right as I was trying to explain to him the importance of a funnel as I'm always doing. But but I signed up for that. And right as we were talking, somebody came in with a $40,000 install. Some guy that owned a VA center
Mhm.
had booked an install. And I was like, okay, look, check it out. This guy, let's take a look. So I shared my screen. I took him inside the funnel and I was like, let's take a look and see how this guy got here. Right. So we saw that the dude came in like January, right? He filled out a form. I don't remember exactly like how he came in, whatever. He came in through Facebook or Google. It doesn't really matter. He came into the lead was generated in January. The lead then entered the funnel, right? And then through a series, I mean, if you look at the contact profile, like you'll see like text, email, text, email, phone call, voicemail drop, text, email, no response, no response, no response. And then in July, one offer goes out and he writes back, yeah, I'm interested. And within
So
12
is it
hours,
true that it takes 5 to 6 contacts to get somebody to buy?
who
Is
the
that
hell
just
knows these questions? You know what I mean? Like behind me, there's like 20 books on marketing and advertising. Everybody says something different. How could someone possibly know this? I mean, I'm sure there's,
I've heard it. Some people say they know. I've interviewed a lot of you guys. Oh, it takes 4.5, it takes 6.86. I don't know what the hell the number is. But
I would say this. Like if I filled out a form, right, for which I do all the time, right? If I fill out a form for, a plumber to come over to my house and that plumber called me right now, I wouldn't be able to pick up. because we're doing this, we're talking.
Right.
If they call me tomorrow at the same time, I wouldn't pick up because I'd probably be busy doing work. If they
Mhm.
call, so I mean, sometimes like 4 or 5 times. I mean, like sometimes it takes us like 40 touch points to get not only someone on the phone, but someone that had requested specifically for us to call them,
Wow.
right? So like it takes a lot of touch points before someone I mean, if you're, let's say you're a roofing company, right? Like, yeah, it rains last night, you get the bucket out, you put it in the bathroom, you catch all the driplets. Your wife was like, "What the fuck? Are you going to actually get the roof fixed at any point?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to get the roof fixed." And then Facebook and Instagram hear you, right? Your phone hears you. You see an ad for it the next morning. You book you book an appointment with the roofing company. They call you to confirm. You don't pick up, right? Like this happens all the time. And I could be stewing in this leak for months and months. It might take 4 or 5 different storms to hit before finally one of their messages, if they have a good funnel, gets to me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take care of this today. And then I
Right.
finally respond and I finally get the appointment and I finally take care of it. That is how it actually happens, I think. And
So
that
let me,
is also
what I'm
important.
understanding is the funnel is once a lead comes in through any, whether it's email or pay-per-click or because they saw your website or something, it comes in, you have the lead. The funnel is what actually nurtures the lead until a salesman actually talks to the person.
Exactly. Yeah. It's also a really good way to keep organized, right? It's like, I mean, just knowing that you have like, a way to easily, like, let's say, like, let's say, the CSR rep is like, is looking at a CRM.
Mhm.
They call somebody, somebody that requested an appointment, somebody, emailed in, the funnel captured them. It sent a notification saying, "Hey, this person never actually booked an appointment. Reach out to them." They call, they can't get the person on the phone. To just know that all you got to do is move that card to the next pipeline stage and 700 things will happen from that point on is so relieving. It's just,
Well, I mean, I've done through, Infusion or Confusionsoft. I've been through HubSpot. I'm now into Go High Level, so I've been through a lot of CRM programs, right? And most all CRM programs have some kind of sales funnel. They say, okay, the lead here, then there's an email, then there's this, and then there's that. I would say most contractors don't really understand that because, CRM, they got something. Maybe they got HubSpot, maybe they got pick one, but how do you get your CRM, whichever one you happen to own, to do what it's supposed to do? Is that something you do where you set it up yourself, or how does that work?
yeah, see, this is the problem that like people seem to be very confused about. Like usually when I'm on calls with people, it's like, well, we already tried HubSpot. It's like, yeah, I mean, like I bought a hammer, but there's no house
Right.
on the plot of land like in the back. Like, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, like high level, HubSpot, ManyChat, all of these things are just tools. Like you have to know how to actually build something inside of it. You have to know like what's the cadence going to be? What's the wording going to be? Are you going to do some stupid chat GPT beat the heat with our 30%? Or are you going to send out messages that sound something like, um, "Hey, Paul, we're in your neighborhood. It's Greg over here at blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything?" I mean, like, that's how you get people to respond. And then what happens when someone responds, right? Is it just going to go to an inbox and wait for someone to see it? Or is there going to be any sort of like, was it a positive response? Was it a negative response? What kind of a response was it? Like, you can really branch this out to kind of nurture it to a point where it's like, all right, do you want to set up an appointment? And then, so like you have to like know what you're going to build.
But what is it? I'm trying to figure out. I know lots of guys that have either. I mean, I had all of those, and I put everything in Go High Level because my IT guy knows how to use it. But once you get it in there, do you actually write all the scripts for it and come up with each thing that it does, or is that up to the client? How do you participate in creating the funnel?
It's completely written. Like everything is done. The voicemails are complete. The text messages are complete. The emails are complete. People used to do email marketing, right? We don't do email marketing anymore. We have emails in the funnel. So you get emails, but I wouldn't call that email marketing, right? It's like email marketing. I think of people like have MailChimp or like Active
Well, they
Campaign.
send out 100,000 emails twice a month and hopefully get somebody to respond or whatever, right?
Exactly. So yeah, we don't do that. So the funnel comes with like the way we send emails in the funnel, like the way we've crafted the emails that are in the funnel are no different than a text message. So like when people like when you send an email to like your friend, it's not like, dear Jamie, this is Greg over at FunnelPros. I hope you're well today. No, it's like when you're emailing a friend,
It
it's
says,
like
I hope you're well today. You know, ChatGPT wrote it, right?
if it
I
says
hope this email finds you well. I go, that's a ChatGPT email. It's like the signature of ChatGPT. It's so funny.
it's if any ChatGPT loves if unlevel, unlock, level up, elevate, unleash. It loves these in the digital landscape.
Right.
ChatGPT it's so funny. Like the one thing that ChatGPT is supposed to be like great at writing is the only thing it can't really like. It's the only thing that it can't do. It's like
Really?
so bad at writing. Oh, it's terrible. I could I could pick out any when we hire when we hire copywriters, if
Mhm.
I spot one word that I know is from GPT, I lose my shit.
I see.
Can't stand it. I hate GPT. Um, but yeah, I mean, like the way we send emails, it's like a sentence. It's like in your neighborhood, you need anything?
Mhm.
That's it. Like so, like the text messages, the emails, all of these things we've kind of tested, like what gets the best responses. Like we've tried out so many things. And we've made a list of all, like at one point, we made a list of what are the best performing text messages? Because the difference between a good text and a bad text could be $2 million.
I mean, what's interesting is I've done this a lot in the past, and even emails and stuff. I will send something out. It doesn't work. Doesn't I change one word, and it goes from like no response to 80% response. I can't. It's like magic or something. I don't know how it works.
You have to like make it sound like you messed up your speech. Like if it's written in like if the grammar is perfect, if there's no like, if you're spelling though, THOUGH and
Mhm.
not THO, like these little things that like brands will be like, no, 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 this is not professional. It's like, look, do you want appointments or do you want to be professional? Like
Right.
I'm telling you right now, this message will get responses. So like we've already kind of like went through like these are the emails that work, these are the texts that work, and then and those are embedded in the funnel
So
when
how many
someone
funnels do you
buys.
think you've built just for fun?
So I mean, it's a very tough question to ask. A lot, because I mean we've been building. I
Hundreds
mean,
and
me
hundreds.
personally, I've been building funnels, since before, ClickFunnels, before all of these things even
Right.
existed, right? Because like, yeah, as soon as like Zapier came out, and I was like, and or even before Zapier, when did Infusionsoft came out? Somewhere around like, I think it was
But
2008,
it
2009,
was
maybe.
about 12, 13, it was a long time ago. Yeah, 15, 20 years. Because I used it. That was the first one I had was Infusionsoft.
Yeah, I think that was probably where I started messing around with automations, but like I started messing out with automations when I was a kid in my parents' basement building like Rube Goldberg machines.
Mhm.
Like that was where I was like, oh, it's really fun. All you got to do is drop the ball here and it will always hit the domino here, which will always knock down this book here, and that will always do this next. And so like to me, a funnel is like a digital version of that, which is what makes it so much fun.
So predictable behavior. If you put this in, you're going to get something out and you pretty much know what it's going to be.
It's like a game. Like when you get like when somebody comes in and they like, let's say they fill out a lead form. And then it's like it prompts them to book an appointment, but they don't book an appointment, right? So then it puts them in a workflow. that says like, if not active in this workflow, add them to this
I mean,
workflow.
I got messed up in Confusionsoft, but because it said build your funnel. I had if this doesn't, there's this whole thing like if A doesn't do B, if B doesn't do C. It's this whole kind of like matrix thing that you worked out, right? With all these lines and graphs and stuff. I could never quite figure out how it worked.
Yeah, it's really confusing. I mean, figuring out how it works is where I think most people stop, right? All these like marketing agencies. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. All I hear is from like other, clients that we work with, like some of the experiences they've had with other people. And it sounds like people will kind of learn how to use the software and think that because they know how to use the software, they know how to build a funnel. Similar if I had learned how to drive a car, like that I am now suited to, I don't know, that's a bad example. I don't even know.
I
Like,
mean, it's because I think a lot of these people have a skill. I mean, all I want is sales. That's right. I mean, that's the bottom line. How do I get more sales, right? That's what I'm trying to get. But the way I get there, there's a whole bunch of noise in the whole marketing arena of, build brand or, use pay-per-click and it changes week to week because Google always changed their algorithms. Now AI has come up with a whole bunch of other stuff and it's very confusing out there. And so I think contractors are looking at, I want to pay so many dollars to get a sale. Do I spend it on building brand? Do I spend it on a funnel? Where do I spend my money effectively to get the greatest rate of return of investment? So I put in, $50,000 and get, $300,000 in sales.
yeah, so that, I mean, like most people have very unrealistic expectations. Most people think that just because marketing exists, that they should be able to get a good return. There's a lot of different things involved here. You have to actually be good at sales. You have to be willing to go through bad leads. If someone's like, I only want good appointments, it's like, well, yeah, so do we all. We all
Right,
only want good appointments. I mean, what's your point? It's like,
right.
yeah, I went to this house and, the guy wasn't interested. It's like, all right, okay. So, how much money do you need to spend to make a return? I mean, it's just working backwards. It's how many calls do you need to run before you close a job? All right. How many, what's your cancellation rate?
Right.
And how many leads does it take to get those, the amount of appointments that you need minus the cancellation rate to get you the amount of appointments needed to close the job? And then how many, so it's basically, and then you can basically determine what your budget should be, right? So it's like generally like, a really solid cost per book call might be somewhere along the lines of like $50, $50 to $80. I would
Right.
say like, HVAC might be somewhere around like, I mean, if I were an HVAC business, I'm feeling real good if I'm getting sales appointments below 200.
Mhm.
Um, I'd say even 250 is fine. Um, I'd say like if I'm a roofing contractor, I'm feeling pretty good if I don't have to pay salespeople and the marketing is basically bringing me all the leads at somewhere around 300. I mean, like these are realistic numbers. Like I think a lot of people just have very unrealistic
But what
expectations.
about like a home improvement guy? I mean, a guy that does remodels.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of remodel, right? I mean,
Let's
like
say his average job's smaller, and it's that 100,000. Say it's 100, 150,000 is his average job.
I mean to get like a sit, to get a sit like in a house, I mean like with a qualified person, I don't know. I mean like I think a better way to come at it is just kind of like how much money are we making? What are we on track to hit this year? It's like, all right, we're making $1 million a year right now. Okay, cool. So let's just take, you know, I'm crazy. I'm a marketer. So it's like when we were only making $200,000 a year, we were spending $10,000 a month on marketing, right? So
Wow.
like because I just asked myself like, do I believe in it? Do I believe in myself or do I not? Do I do? Okay. So I always bet on myself. I know I'm either betting on myself or betting against myself. I always bet on myself. And then so I think, all right, well, if we spend $10,000 a month what will happen, what will we get with $10,000 a month? We'll get a calendar full of appointments for two, let's say for two salespeople.
Mhm.
Okay. And what's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is we lose that money.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, but you bet on yourself. So like
Right.
what's the likelihood of that happening? What would have to be true for you to lose $10,000, like for you to lose $100,000 of marketing for the year?
Mhm.
Well, what would have to be true is both salespeople would have to not close any deals uh, for a year straight.
Mhm.
Okay, but that's not gonna. So, but like, let's take it even on a smaller scale. Like, what would have to be true for me to lose money in 3 months? Well, we would have to book, let's say, 30 appointments, 30 to 60 appointments a month. I'm not doing my math, like, yeah, something like that, 30, 60 appointments a month, and basically lose like 90% of them.
Right.
I mean, like the likelihood of that happening is just so low, like if you believe in
Right.
what you do. So I think that that's really the best way to budget for marketing. Not,
Mhm.
I just like, it's like what ROI, ROI. It's like forget about the ROI. You need to market your business. Like you need to fill your funnel full of leads. And you just need to know that if your funnel is constantly bringing leads, constantly converting leads into appointments, and you're constantly going out to appointments, and your lifetime value of a customer can sustain marketing to begin with, then it's like, why even think about it? Just keep going.
Okay. It's interesting. So when you're looking at when you build a funnel for somebody, so do you come up with any kind of, numbers saying, okay, we're gonna get, if you look, we're gonna get these sources are gonna produce these amount of leads. Once the leads get in the system, we're gonna keep the leads, in a system to where they keep renewing those leads till they finally buy or don't buy. And so that whole system, it's gonna cost money, right? We know that. How do you evaluate this? We're talking about how much is it worth? I mean, because I have a hard time as a coach in the many years getting clients to spend money on marketing because they come from this real weird world where, I do a good job and I answer the phone, right? Back in the old days. And they say, but that doesn't work anymore. And I've also noticed that with AI, the biggest thing AI is doing in construction is driving capital into things like roofing and plumbing because it's going to disrupt attorneys and all the people that are selling information for money, right? So money seeking, like the AI is not going to put somebody's roof on and it's not going to fix their plumbing. So all this cash is coming in. And I'm finding companies are spending tons of money rolling up roofing companies, rolling up plumbing companies because they know it's going to be here for 5 years. But a lot of those are really good at marketing. So what advice can you give to the guys that are in this business about how they spend the money to do marketing to compete with people that are coming to their marketing that are better than they are? Does that make any sense to you? Because because
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of companies are coming in with capital to try to, like, I checked out the other day and he's putting on a $10 million roofing company because he wants to own the roofing market in Nebraska. So he has his
mhm.
marketing campaign, his recruiting campaign. He figures the people there don't know what the hell they're doing, and he's going to like own this market. Um, so how do you help the guys that are there compete or market well? Because obviously it's a funnel. It's got to be one of the keys to do it.
It's a mindset game. I mean, like it has nothing to do with who you're competing with. I mean, like you take the amount of money that you can reasonably spend and you make it into more money. That's,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how else, like I don't ever think about other like marketing agencies. Like I don't care what they're doing. I mean, there's millions of agencies out there that have more money than we do. I don't care. I don't pay attention to them. Doesn't bother me. I mean, like, and I get it. There's a lot of private equity coming in, scooping up, companies, but what does it matter? You create your own voice, you create your own ads, you have
Mm-hmm.
your own messaging, you create your own retargeting audience. It doesn't matter if there's a behemoth, competing with you.
Right.
I mean, what you will do is lose money spending money on LSA ads, like and these like cheap ways of marketing, like just throwing money at Google. I mean, because when you're throwing money at like let's say advertising, you're going to lose if you're going up against like big players like that. Advertising is 10% of marketing. Like all advertising does is gets people's attention. Like the other 90% is a sales cycle. You could have a better sales system at a $10,000 company than a $1 million company has. I mean, like, there's nothing stopping anybody from getting really good at knowing their trade and developing relationships with their customers. So I mean, like, I just think it's irrelevant. I don't think it matters at all.
Cool.
But it's when people try to take the easy way out by just throwing money at like advertising avenues where it disappears. Because like even if you know it, because it's a lazy way to do it. It's a lazy way to do it. It's an easy way to do it. I mean, if all it took was spending money to make money, well, then everybody would be a whole lot richer than they are.
Right.
Because all you'd have to do is just spend money to make more, right? So it's like, and a lot of people do that, you know, and if you're like, let's say you're like, you know, spending money on Google Ads, which I don't think anybody should do unless they have a really good funnel. But let's say they're spending money on Google Ads and they've got a 4.7, review rating with 100 reviews. Um, and they're trying to bid on like LSA and whatever. But then you got, four other people in your market that have got 120, or let's say like 4,000 reviews at a 4.8.
Right.
Why would anyone go to you? They wouldn't,
Right.
right? If there's like three other companies that have thousands of reviews with a higher rating, why would somebody go to you with lower reviews and a lower rating? It makes no sense, right? So like you can't win doing that. Um, you can make a really great ad that gets people's attention. You can make sure that anyone that comes in through that ad that you call that you have a really good follow-up sequence. You can do things as a smaller company that bigger companies don't have the time or the care to do. Um, I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do it. I mean, that's why nobody should spend a dime on advertising until they know what they're going to do with the lead once they get it. And that's the whole point of a funnel. You blueprint what you're going to do once somebody calls or once somebody submits their information. Like that has to be nailed down before you spend any money. And
Okay.
money, I think the money that people spend, I mean, this is what we do. Like, yeah, we don't tell people to do anything that we don't do ourselves. And it's all out there. You can look at our Facebook, you can look at all the advertising we're doing. Like we eat our own,
Dog food. Eat your own dog food or something like that.
yeah,
You're not a dog, but that's the saying, I think.
we eat our own dog food. Um, but yeah, I mean, like we spend a certain amount on advertising no matter what, because even if it's a slow month, people are seeing the ads. You're building brand, they're seeing the ads over and over and over again. There's a psychology to it. First time someone sees the ad, they're like, they don't pay attention. Second time somebody sees the ad, they're like, what is this? Third time, they're like kind of annoyed. Fourth time, they're like, how does this company have so much money? They're advertising so much. Fifth time, it's like, what are they even selling? Sixth time, it's like, let me check this out. Seventh time, it's like, maybe they must be good at it if they keep advertising. Eighth time, so like there's a whole psychology to it. So that even when you're not getting calls coming in, this psychology is still in the works that you're not seeing. You're also like, even if there's no like attribution is another thing that drives me crazy. Like you can't attribute anything. I don't think attribution should even be paid attention to. But I mean, like, let's say that, people are coming into the funnel where then you can clearly attribute like where they're coming from because you can tag sources and all of that stuff. But even when that's not happening, people are seeing the ads and they're calling, they're talking about you at dinner tables. Like, you can't track things like that. So I
Right.
mean, like, no matter what's happening, we know our ad budget, we stick to it. We basically, there's never a time when we'll turn it off, not when it's slow, not when it's fast. It always stays on. Consistency, I think, is key. I think it's pretty much a mindset game. Like, it's really easy to get scared and pull back, but that's the worst thing that anybody could do. Because once that doubt creeps in, it's hard to get rid of it. It's like it's
Right.
either faith or doubt, but they can't coexist. And the second doubt starts creeping into your marketing strategy, all of a sudden you stop marketing and then you can't grow. Then you're
Right.
dependent on word of mouth. Then you're dependent on inbound marketing, but you'll never know your cost for customer acquisition unless you have an outbound marketing campaign going. And
Right.
outbound marketing is not going to be successful every month of the year. So but you have to keep going. That's the only way I can see it. It has to be baked into the budget.
Okay. So at Funnel Pro, you build funnels. How does somebody like get a hold of you and say, okay, now this is what I've been doing for marketing. I've been spending, pick a number, 5,000 a month, 10,000, whatever I've been spending. And I'm getting this kind of stuff, but I'm not happy with it. Like how the guy was spending, forgot what it was, but he was spending, pick a number, 300,000 a year as a builder, large builder. And he was selling 5 houses a month. He changed marketing companies. Now he's selling 5 houses a week. So he obviously did something different, right? Whatever it was a lot better. And so how do people get in touch with you to even look if they have a funnel? It makes any sense? Can you analyze what they do? How do you like start this interaction with people? They call you? How's it work? Where's your funnel start, I guess?
Well, we advertise. We don't do any sort of like, you know, we by the time somebody shows up to chat with us, hopefully they have seen our material. I mean, it's really hard for anybody to kind of like even get, by the time they end up on one of our landing pages or booking, on one of our calendar links, I mean, they've already seen pretty much what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a marketer, I'll pay much more for an educated lead than a lot of people eating up my calendar that
Right.
don't really know what we do.
Okay.
So, I mean, I try to document exactly what each funnel, like what a funnel will do. I try to talk about it in different ways. I do screen shares. I'm always drafting, I'm always sketching things out to try to explain it in different ways. There's lots of YouTube videos that we've made. All of our socials are populated with, information on how funnels work. Um, and then at that point, I mean, if somebody ever wants to book a call, they can book a call with us, like, and then we chat. And I mean, that's basically it. I mean,
Okay. So if
I
someone
think
wants
like
to touch with you, they go to funnelpro.ai, right? Is that right?
funnelpros.ai, yeah.
Right.
But just
And
from
then
just from hearing the name, like the ads will start popping up now on your phone
I see.
because that's the world
My
we live
phone is
in.
always listening. I know that works. Okay. So, um, so they go to funnelpros.ai and then they book an appointment and you go from there, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much
And
it.
who are your ideal clients? I mean, give me some example. Are they small, large, 2 million, 20 million? Do you have any kind of, avatar that you like to work with?
I mean, it's not, I mean, a funnel for us is a funnel. Like we love, we do full service advertising and appointment setting for specific clients. There has to be a specific brand, there has to be a specific budget. I mean, like we will only advertise and do appointment setting and full service marketing for very specific clients. But as far as like funnel building goes, like we have just as much fun building funnels for $200,000 companies as we do for, you know, Fortune 5,000 companies.
Mhm.
Um, it's definitely fun when we're talking to a company that has more than one service because we charge by the service, right? Like each you need, if you're a home service company and you do, let's say, HVAC and plumbing and roofing, well, you need a different funnel for each one of those
Right.
services. So it's always fun when someone's like, yeah, we do commercial electrical, we do residential electrical, we do residential HVAC, we do commercial plumbing. It's like, great, cool. We can build out a really fun funnel for each of those. And I mean, that's always fun. And then you tie all the funnels together like at the main artery. And
Right.
what gets even more fun is when someone's like, all right, but I want it like when this happens in Service Titan, I want, this to happen. And then, when the direct mail comes in, when somebody comes in from direct mail, like basically when people start having like these crazy things that they want to happen, then
Mhm.
it goes into like basically very custom built funnels.
Mhm.
That gets super fun because then we're developing our own APIs and like basically creating something that competition, like that our clients' competitors could never compete with. Like there's no possible way that anybody could replicate a custom funnel with like custom APIs out. Those can get very expensive, But still, I mean, you can start off with like a base funnel that basically takes care of all your leads and works them all year long. And as you know, you can invest a little bit into it to build out, new features. It's like a video game for your business.
Mhm. Cool. All right. Well, I would suggest that if you want to know more about funnels and your funnels, that you obviously give Greg a call. He's it sounds like he's the world expert on funnels, if there is one, right? Especially in the service industry.
I'm just a regular guy, you know. I'm sure there's a billion people out there that know more than I do about this.
Okay. Well, thanks, Greg. I appreciate being with us. And I would suggest you call Greg at funnelpros.ai if you want anything more about this.